let's look at the collective energy today, see what the week ahead will bring. I'll also be looking in at how this will affect the world stage and predictions coming forward for the week ahead. And then finally, I will look at how to navigate this energy on a personal level, all using the Forecaster Oracle. So let's get into the reading. Hi, I'm back after my break. So that's probably the longest break I've had from doing readings in about 3 to 4 years. So I was off for 3 weeks. My last readings were on the 14th of February. So I did the collective readings all together on one day on the 14th before the war broke out. So I had no idea those kind of things were happening. The first week came up with the calm before the storm. So it was really subtle, calm energy that came in for the first week. The second week, you could see it was still calm energy, but you could see the shifting, changing tide energy coming in for the collective, as the top line was calm and the bottom line was starting to intensify. And then the third week, it was just the energy of the third week, which was when the war was officially declared, was really crazy. It felt really intense. So, and I had no idea that was happening, and that was about 3 weeks prior to this happening. So very interesting how the cards work. I'm really excited to tap back into Spirit today for the first time in 3 weeks and see what Spirit has for us today, see what the cards will reveal for the upcoming energies. Now, it's not going to be rainbows and unicorns. It is tense out there. So it's really important to, if you can, be informed, know what's going on, but also making sure that you're taking time to take care of yourself, your mental health, your well-being. Also taking time to kind of go into your bubble, focus on the things around you, the things you love, your family, the people around you, your job, whatever it is that you love and it brings you joy. Focus on those things, because sometimes it feels inside the bubble there's calmness, but when you step outside of that and into the collective energy, it's very intense. So if you're maintaining your perspective of the collective energy, then you're contributing positive energy to the collective, and that's what this is for. So especially the end section where it is the personal and how to navigate the energy, that's what that section is for. What tips or what insights the cards can reveal about maintaining our personal energy within the collective field. The collective field is multifaceted. It comes from many different viewpoints. So I try to tap into the energy that is the strongest or the most energy directed towards it to see what's coming up for the future, for the week ahead. Now, I'm midweek, so I'm starting my readings way out of order. So normally I have my readings prepared on the weekend, ready for the week, where today it's Wednesday, so there should have already been readings done. So, and it's just because I've come back from traveling and I had to get over the jet lag and rebalance my energy. So, but I'm refreshed. I feel great. I'm really excited about tapping back into Spirit, and I can't wait to bring through some messages for you. So let's get into today's reading. I am going to look at the astrology today as well, and I've missed over while I was gone some really big activity, which was the 2 eclipses that happen. They always come in a set of pairs, and I didn't put them into the collective energy readings because I was just trying to get as many readings done as I could for me, ready to go away, so there'd be something going up. So I am back on the astrology today, but I did talk about the eclipses in my reading, which is, you can check that out, and a lot of things out of that reading is coming to pass right now. So that was the reading done for predictions for 2026. So I talked about the eclipses in that. I talked about the astrology. I talked about some predictions coming up, and a lot of that is happening right now because we are in the eclipse season. Eclipse season usually starts a couple of weeks before the eclipses and a couple of weeks after, and we're still in that heightened energy. Very interesting because the 3-3 eclipse, which is a portal, 3-3 is a ritual number, so it was a blood moon and we had war going on around that time. So the cards on the collective reading for the last one said be aware, and I didn't know what was happening, but it said be aware of what's going on and see things for what they really are. So keep that in mind, and I don't want to go too woo-woo, but there could be some aspect of ritual energy around war is like sacrifice. So there's a lot of intense energy, there's a lot of passing. So Cam just battery went flat. So that's Spirit's way of saying get a move on. And I know I'm procrastinating a little bit today, just getting back into the energy. It has been a few weeks. So but Spirit is saying let's just get into it. So we're full screen now on the cards so you can see what cards are going to be revealed. Let's get into today's reading. Let's take a look at the collective energy for the week ahead. Now, as I said, my readings are going to be all over the place this week. They're not going to be in the normal order. So hit the bell button so you'll be notified when the videos are coming out because they're not on my normal days or times. Okay, so we do have this line here is showing some tension. So it's showing the escalating conflict, intensity rising. There'll be fluctuating volatility and instability, troubled relations, miscommunication, and there'll be a morality imbalance, value distortion. So it's a bit of, let me just tap into this energy now. It's distorted value. So I'm feeling it's where we're placing our energy. I'll come back to this card, but you can see these ones here are what we would expect for this week given the state of the world at the moment. Now down at the bottom, the first card that I'm seeing down here is the first card that came out, and it's the information surge data dump. So this always reminds me of the files, like released information about the files. So now I often wonder sometimes when we're distracted away from certain things. I'm going to do a reading on the war again because the one that I done 8 months ago is unveiling just as it was in that video. So check that one out if you haven't. It was one about Iran. Will Iran retaliate? And I did that one 8 months ago, and it is happening right now. But I wonder if it's a distraction from this, or that's a distraction from something else, if it's a strategic play, if it's about the oil. So I am going to do a reading on it because I want to bring in other countries like North Korea and things like that in that reading. So that's coming this week. But this card here is what reminded me of that, and it's the information surge data dump. And I am jumping a little bit. Please bear with me. I am getting back into the reading. Have a look at this. It says release of information or files. What is it? Oh, and the censoring. So censoring information released in the files. Maybe that's the distraction that they've made me talk about, this distraction around what's going on with the fluctuating volatility, the escalating conflict, intensity rising. Yes, it distracts us because we're all looking at that now. Most people, some people are still going through the files. And again, that is another part where you have to be careful with your energy as well. It's all energy that affects your individual state. You have to look after your energy because your energy is a commodity. So you do have to look after what you do with that. So between the files and the war, both of those things are energy grab, are intentionally done to do something to your energy. So keep that in mind because the cards are showing that, and that's why I'm talking about it, because both of these things talk about collective energy. These are the two main things that's going on in the collective energy right now. We've got the files, the E-files down here. And then we've got the escalated tension around the world here. This is what is affecting the collective energy right now. So be responsible for your energy here if you're looking into either one of those two things. So what I'm seeing for this one, it does say eruption threshold. If this was in the world prediction, I would say volcano, because it's the volcano card, but because it's in reading the collective energy, it's clearly saying the two things that are affecting the collective energy right now is the release of information and the escalating tension. But reading a little bit deeper into that energy here, we're seeing that the release of the information, they're trying to censor that, and we have people joining forces. So let me just tap in here, these two cards here. Let me try and see where they fit. All of these are very clear. So these three cards, E-files, these three cards, what's going on around the world. The two starting cards. Okay, merging, alliance, joining forces. Okay, so these being at the start of the lines, for each of them, kind of meaning very similar energy. The similarities of energy here is the merging of these two things, files and world tension around the world, escalating volatility or instability around the world, is distorting our collective energy. It is imbalancing our collective energy. That's what these two cards mean. So joining together, merging these two energies together, it is showing that these two main things that's going on in the collective right now is distorting the collective energy field. It's making it imbalanced. So it's making it more weighted towards negativity, tensity. So keep that in mind. So be responsible for your own energy. Now these ones I'm going to put on in the middle, because they're completely different. These are positive cards. We have got an approved solution or an innovative solution, but it feels like progress. To me, it feels like improvements. Over here, we've got optimistic approach, breakthrough, successful outcome, and then we've got flight plan. So for this is saying that in a predictive reading, I would say that there's going to be breakthroughs around the issues around flight or travel, but this is not a predictive reading. This is a collective energy reading. So it's telling you your part of the energy, your contribution to the collective energy here. Successful outcome with an optimistic approach. It improves the situation. It brings an innovative solution or progress. Flight plan and travel. Okay, just tapping into this card here. Collective energy around flight path or travel. Okay, so this one here feels to me a bit like, because I keep hearing get out of your head. Get out. It's like a bubble. It's like when I spoke about the energy on the outside of the bubble feels very tense, but the energy on the inside is your own energy, what you're responsible for, and it feels very different to what's on the outside. And that's why I keep being drawn to like an aeroplane and then air. So it's like what's on the outside is different to what's on the inside. It's almost like that pressure energy. And I know pretty sure I've seen pressure just here, pressure and pressure. So I'm feeling like, and they keep saying get out of your head. So explore, travel, do things that you enjoy, to look after your own energy, to be as optimistic, to improve the situation, look for innovative solutions to your personal energy because it affects the collective energy. Okay, that was quite challenging for me to bring through. So let's move on to the predictive energy for the week ahead. Predictions, world stage. This is how the collective energy, or the biggest things that's going to be on the predictive world stage this week. economic pressures, the cost of living. Obviously, with a war, everything goes up, fuel goes up, groceries goes up, everything around us goes up. So we're going to be feeling economic pressures, the cost of living. We're going to be seeing, I feel, shortages. We're going to, and things just going up because of pending shortages coming. Veiled truth tell all. So maybe this week somebody's releasing some kind of tell-all. Maybe there's a whistleblower. Maybe there's something. It could be related to the files. It could be related to more information coming up about the things that's going on around within the collective at the moment, given those two main topics on the last spread. Foundation infrastructure, long-term vision, AI adaptation. We may be seeing in the completely different to what's going on. Predictively this week, we may be learning about something that involves long-term vision around AI, long-term vision with infrastructure or changes to the way we, innovations to do with AI being incorporated. So we may hear of some new thing around that's AI related, and the long-term vision of AI, especially if it relates to digital identity, syncing your data. Done by AI, setting up the foundations, which has been a long-term vision, something that has been planned, and they're starting to bring that in now. So we may be seeing more that come to light this week. Maybe that may be what will be revealed, a little bit of that. So eyes open when you hear about some kind of new innovation, new things, new laws, new regulations. I don't think it's regulations. It feels more like actual progress being made in the science stage, the science arena. Maybe we're going to be hearing about a breakthrough when it comes to some kind of new technology connected to AI, but it is connected to the foundation's long-term vision that they've been planning, and it will affect syncing data or digital identity, all tied into AI. This is predictively for the week ahead, things we may hear. Blurred boundaries, merge, divide. Interesting, because this is AI. So be aware of, I know the videos now for AI, so realistic. It's so hard to tell the difference between if something's real, if the person speaking is real. It's really difficult. Now this one here is blurred boundaries, merges, divide. So this one here is all kinds of merging male, female, merging AI with humanity. It's a merging of two opposites or two different things merging together. But because it's sitting next to the synthetic mind, and this is, you can see the synthetic mind here, it's the merging. So maybe we're going to be hearing about something. Oh God, I hope it's not consciousness. That reminds me, I want to do a reading on Jim Carrey because he looks so different now. And I think even in the e-files, there's something about some kind of technology. The e-files, and I know I'm waffling and I said I wouldn't, but this is kind of important because it does relate to what's going on and what may have been released in those files, is that Epstein did work with a lot of scientists. What were they working on? There was many projects they were working on, but consciousness transforming or shifting or merging with AI, merging with others, changing from one body to another. Those kind of things I think are in the files. Maybe that's what scientists were working on, amongst other things. Scientists were so important to Epstein. And then we're seeing all of this stuff. So maybe some of those things going to be released are going to be a little clearer about some of those scientific connections with the files. And that's why I want to read on Jim Carrey, because I think it's tied up in that energy. Not saying Jim Carrey was tied up in e-files. I'm saying how different he looks now could be something to do with blurring the boundaries of consciousness or consciousness transmission or changes. So I may put that one over on my other channel, which is the Cosmic Truths channel, because it may get a little bit woo-woo. So that one, I'll put the links in the bottom of this description so you can see that channel if that's something you might be interested in looking at. So harvest affected, impacted outcome. Okay, farmers. We're going to be seeing on the news something about farmers. Farmers impacted by the economic pressures, low fuel shortage, fuel running out, economic pressures, cost of living, affects harvest. It affects our crops. It affects the production of foods. Oh. And then we see over here we've got synthetics. I hope it's not synthetic food. I hope it's not looking for other solutions around using this opportunity of economic pressure, fuel shortages of food, and harvesters impacted because of what's going on. It has been it all feels connected to me. So it has been a long-term structure related back to the E-files when he was working with all the scientists. Maybe there's something here that's going to be released or connected, or the points come together around this long-term vision connected to these things, and now we're starting to see those things play out. That's the story these cards are telling. And if I had to make it any clearer, I would say synthetic meats, synthetic crops. Because of the shortage, we're forced to seek other avenues which have already been in the works. So that's probably the clearest way I can explain that. But that seems to be what the cards are showing. And then also we have the digital identity, things around that. So let's have a look at how we can navigate this energy on a personal level. Okay, so Spirit is amazing. This card here is my reminder to do the astrology. Spirit's just reminding me that I forgot to do the astrology section. I normally do it at the front of the readings, but this time I'm going to do it at the end of the readings because I forgot, and this is them just reminding me to take a look at the astrology. So here we've got how we can best navigate the energy around the upcoming energy. I limited it to 4 cards so I didn't waffle on too much with this reading, so I could get straight into the energy. So we're talking about our flow of energy and how we best navigate our own personal energy that we're responsible for. We have to look at improving our own personal situations to take a more optimistic approach. So if you're allowing yourself to be taken down by the energy, to the mental health aspect, or if you just feel flat, then it's your responsibility to do something about improving your energy. Take a walk, get in nature, drink more water, look at what you're consuming with your eyes or your mouth, because those things affect your energy, and that's what they're just asking you to take a look at on a personal level to navigate the energy for the week ahead. So we've got this personal surge data dump of information. This is a tired expression. So this one here to me looks like, it feels like this person here is a little bit overwhelmed, tired, drained because of being consumed by the energy that contaminated, I've got to say. I know that says containment, but I'm reading it upside down. So to me it feels contaminated by the negative energy that's circulating in the collective right now because of the release of the files, because of the escalating tension. So we need to go from this expression, which is tired, run down, drained, over it, to this expression, fresh air, coming out of a dark place, moving into fresh air. So for getting out of the darkness, moving into the light. So that's what I feel this energy here is. Now I know it says population swell containment, and I would read that as something to do with people if it was a predictive energy, but it's not. It's a personal reading. So I would be more drawn to look at the images here and the feelings coming from the energy of the expression of the people. So what you need to do with your energy is to take a more, improve your situation, improve your own energy, come out of this energy here and move into this energy here. Fresh air, open windows, let window light in, let fresh air in, go outside, move out of that bubble that I spoke about where it feels like it's different from the inside as it is from the outside. Here it's about maintaining your own energy here because that's what it's sitting on top of. So let's take a look at the astrology section before I forget. Taking a look at a chart, my astrology, I use Solarfire for my astrology program. That's the software that I use. It's on my other computer, my old computer. So I just print the chart. So then you can see actually what's going on, and you can see how heavily weighted we are on one side of the chart. The upper hemisphere is very heavy with energy collectively. So to me, and I'm reading intuitively of this chart, what is popping out to me. So I would say the heaviness of the collective energy in the upper hemisphere, so the collective energy feels very heavy. It's full of fire energy, Aries energy, war energy, because that's what this stellium here is, of stellium in Aries. It represents war energy. It represents conflict, tensity, heightened energy. And we're seeing this stellium play out here. Then we've got this stellium in Pisces, which can represent water, heightened emotions. It can also be fantasy thinking, escapism, things like that. So we've got that stellium playing out there. So I'm feeling this collective energy, and we've got Aquarius over here, which is collective energy. This week will be emotionally, we've got the moon sitting here in Aquarius, collective energy. Intuitively, I'm bringing this information in. I will tell you the actual logical reasons as well here as well. But I'm feeling emotional. Moon represents emotions. In the collective energy, it's going to be heightened. Emotions. Pisces is also a water sign. It represents emotions. So we're going to see heightened emotions over this week in the collective energy. I'm saying the top half intuitively as collective energy. Sitting down the bottom here is your individualism, it's your first house, your second house, your third house. First house represents you, second house represents, how you go out in the world, your skills, your resources, the way you make money. So it's really about physical things, everyday things, practical things. Third house is your communication. It's about family. It's your community, so your close community. Fourth house is your family and your home. Fifth house is how you have fun and what you do with your energy. So also your creativity. So this bottom hemisphere down here represents you personally. And I'm feeling there's not much going on here because there's so much going on in the collective energy right now. But we do have Jupiter. Yeah, it was in retrograde, so then it's a pulling back of your energy and focusing internally on what your next steps forward are, and you're planning and you're thinking, you're evaluating for moving forward into the future for expansion and growth. So and then by the 13th it moves into forward motion, forward direction. So we're seeing this is where we're activating our plans on what it is we want to expand on in our lives. And it will depend, obviously, Cancer, what house that is in your chart, if you want to take a look at it from a personal perspective. So representing which house this is in for you will give you a little bit more clues personally on where this expansion may occur. But I feel like as it moves this week into a forward motion or a forward direction, it's about, on a personal level, focusing on how you can grow, how you can expand, how you can improve your energy, optimism, because Jupiter's a very optimistic sign, how you can grow, expand, luck, wealth, abundance, prosperity, those kind of things. So what plans you've been making, now's the time to take action on them and really just focus on them, because you can see there's nothing else here to focus on but you being responsible for your own plans moving forward, even though there's a lot of intensity going on in the collective energy. So that's how I would read this chart, in a collective energy kind of way. And so now here we're going to just dive into what's really going on here in the stars and why this could be affecting us. I did mention the stellium here taking place in Aries. That brings intensity, that brings conflict, that brings warlike energy. We have got Venus there, we've got Saturn. Saturn brings challenges. Neptune wants to dissolve anything that doesn't work, old power structures, old systems, old governments, old laws, old things that just don't work for the collective anymore, don't work for the people, just are not working. So Neptune comes in and it will be there for 14 years. Over that 14 years, it's going to dissolve things that don't work. That could be things like digital identity that came up in that reading because it's the first sign in the zodiac. It could be things like power structures that don't work for the collective anymore. But we're going to see a lot of great changes, and that's already unfolding and happening now. Balance, harmony, love, connection. So this is Venus also in the mix here, and Venus says that it wants collective energy to be more balanced, harmonious. The energy to be more, I'm getting value added. I don't know why I'm hearing value added, but I'm feeling like these energies are all about more balanced energy. Loving, harmonious kind of energy. And I know that sounds woo-woo, and it's in the mix of Aries. That's a Venus return for me too. My natal Venus is in Aries. Interesting. So over here we've got Chiron, the wounded healers, also in the mix of Aries. So this is about healing from traumas. It's about working through traumas or working through things collectively that have been traumas on the community, traumas on the collective energy. So this is where we're really diving into the energy of people. It could be the Iranian people, the Persian people, not just Persia, not just Iran. This is other countries as well. We're looking at the injustices or the imbalances on people all around the world. And here what Neptune's wanting to come in and rebalance those, or work through dissolving those things that have been injustice. We had the morality imbalance within the reading this week. So here we're seeing Neptune wanting to come in and balance out where there's been morality injustice or been morality imbalance in the collective energy. Then we've got the Pisces stellium over here. We've got Sun in Pisces season. Then we have Mercury there, which is about communication. So communication in a very Piscean way. Piscean way is about beyond the boundaries, fantasy thinking. Pisces, Mercury, does represent the way we think. So there could be a tendency to want to engage in fantasy thinking, so woo-woo kind of thinking. And that's this energy of this stellium playing out here right now. So I'm going to leave that there for now, and I will see you again next week for the collective energy. I do have lots of readings that I want to do this week, but they will be on different days. So depending on how many readings I can get through, we'll see how many readings I get up. But hit that bell button to be notified when readings, because they're going to be all over the place this week. But I'm really excited to be back. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. I've got the links to the Forecaster Oracle in the products up the top, and I've got the link to my cosmic channel for the more woo-woo-y stuff that I talked about. So I will see you again on the next reading.